My earliest RPG memory was Zelda: A Link to the Past, Super Nintendo.
Okay, Super Nintendo.
Great game. It was. I mean, I went back later and I played other Zeldas, Zelda 1, Zelda 2. Yeah. But Link to the Past was so much bigger. It was not as big as some other games today, like, Skyrim or even a current Zelda game. But for back in the early 90s, it was a huge world that you could explore as the hero of... He wasn't the hero of time yet, but he would be.
Now, what's an RPG, and we'll start with Keith, that you really hated, or that was a real disappointment?
Ooh, well, does Shadowgate count?
It could be a tabletop too. Just something that was a real kick in the teeth, as we like to say.
Let's see. Well, yeah. As far as video games go, like it's something like Shadowgate, which looked really cool when you first turned it on. And you're like, but you don't do anything.
No.
It's like, what is this? As far as role-playing games go,
Shadowgate was the game I got because
I
all the
enjoyed
ones
Zelda.
I had. Shadowgate was the game I got because all the ones I had put on my list for Christmas were all sold out when my dad.
Right, exactly. You played Shadowgate because there was nothing else there.
How about the new Diablo?
I haven't played Diablo 3.
I've heard good things. Good things about the game, bad things about the company.
As far as
You can't do anything. You can't move your screen angle. You can't. You have to literally click to run. It's freaking ridiculous. It's like I literally 30 seconds. I'm like, I can't do this. I'll quit.
As far as tabletop games go, what I had trouble with was the New World of Darkness stuff. After they had done, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, all that stuff.
Mage, that's the other important one to mention. The others don't matter.
No, I'm a big fan. I like Wraith. Other than
you had a Sega Master System.
Oh, see, that's one thing that you guys haven't talked about. All of these books and all of this role-playing stuff has led to like huge literary novels, the whole system. Like White Wolf, there's the whole Vampire the Masquerade, and then the world ends and all that stuff. And then they made this new Vampire, which nobody likes. So
Vampire the
they're
Requiem.
redoing the old one again.
That's why they republished this.
Thank you. Yeah, New World of Darkness was. I like the system. When they did the new system, which was kind of like an update to the storyteller system. They kind of streamlined things.
I liked some of the new
in the rules
plans,
but the theme and the and just the build of like Vampire the Requiem in particular, I didn't really like very much because it was kind of I guess I'm kind of a Vampire the Masquerade snob in that way, in the sense of I really liked the meta plot and the backstory that came with Vampire the Masquerade. Where in Requiem they kind of dropped all of that.
It was more open world.
Camarilla, the whole good versus evil, but not really good and not really evil. The two
not even
factions
that.
system
Just more
is the driving force in the whole game, and that.
Well, not even the conflict between the two sects or anything like that, but the history of the kindred and all that stuff.
Right, they built it all up, and they built that.
The first vampire Cain and all that other stuff.
That was neat.
And then Requiem, they kind of just gloss that right out because they're trying to make it more just kind of generic in a way.
So basically, first edition story good, screwed it up, go back to it.
And Joe, if we can move on real quick, the game that broke your heart, like I'm assuming one of the Zelda sequels really pissed you off, or am I just way off base with that? Or are we going to get into an ending controversy about Mass Effect 3? Which
we might end up doing that later.
There's time
Honestly,
for that.
I'm the kind of guy who if I play a game and I don't like it, I stop playing it. The one that really sticks out to me, Keith and I were talking about this briefly on the way here, Final Fantasy VII. Could not get into that game. Everybody and their mother loves it, and in some cases, actually their mothers. But it just seemed to me like some generic story of some generic amnesiac super soldier. Blah blah blah. It seemed like every aspect of it was to pander to fangirls, and I can't get into that. Even reading the storyline on the internet or watching videos of Let's Plays on YouTube, I cannot like that game at all.
at the time, it was groundbreaking in terms of the content. Squaresoft actually couldn't publish it for the Nintendo 64 because the Nintendo 64 couldn't run full motion video, and they had spent so much time on that.
Fanboys was a funny movie though.
So when they published the game on PS1, well, it was just PlayStation at the time. That's really what jumped PlayStation to the head of the game, and it just sort of followed a wave of popularity where people were really getting into it. And I mean, the story was pretty generic, but it was a little bit more complex than I think what most gamers were used to. You know, I mean, D&D nerds read. I don't know about computer nerds.
They read it if it's on the internet.
That's true.
We read.
Yeah, if it's on a blog or
And before I pick my
Google.
Before I go on a tangent, do we want to go down the rabbit hole of expansion pack rage for MMOs, or is that something that?
Oh, maybe. All right, I could go there. I want to make a panda. All right, just bite me.
Kung Fu Panda.
Panda, they're cute.
And just so I'm clear, you're a
World of
girl?
Warcraft.
Yeah, this is for World of Warcraft.
I am a girl.
There are a lot of girls playing World of Warcraft. It has a social aspect.
Yeah.
Also,
we get to chat.
I hate the pesky social aspects of games.
Also, a
That's
woman on the internet is pretty much a goddess wherever she is. She will have an army of worshippers.
Actually,
begging
really
to
annoys
please
you,
her.
doesn't it?
Actually,
Really just
why
Why do you
bothers
think I make girl characters? Blow a guy a kiss, he gives you 20 gold.
exactly.
You made
So
a girl
you wanna be a
character
whore?
because my tunes all my guild's all girl tunes.
Well, yeah, I
You
started,
did that a
but
long
I started
time ago.
before that. I started doing that a long time ago.
Because it was an easy way to, con people into giving
I don't
you
have to
stuff.
con anybody into doing
A
anything.
pretty girl can open a lot of doors with a smile. That's what I learned.
Oh,
Not even a smile.
Also, I also learned a lot about gender politics because a lot of people, if you're feigning to be a woman, think you really are, and then won't stop annoying you and trying to get your attention.
yeah, that's why we like the ignore feature.
I know. No,
I'm a big fan.
But I realized, I realized, pretending and then getting hit on. I thought, well, this must be really
You
annoying
loved
in
every
real
part
life
of it.
too.
You were
And I
whispering
really,
me like,
really
this
didn't.
guy gave me gold. Da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da.
it got
I
old
pretended
after
to be
about a
chick.
week.
Da, 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 da. Now, my problem with it is that still, like, I've got friends who are girls that probably play the game better than anybody else, and everybody's still, their big e-peens are all in a knot because she plays the game so well, and they can never admit when a girl is good at something. It's always, oh no, it's her gear. Oh no, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, blah, blah, blah. But if it was a guy, it wouldn't be that way. So that annoys me. It's like, just give people their due, whether or
That's why
not
MMOs bother me.
it's a girl or
The
not.
double standard.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I really hate about MMOs?
What?
They cost
People
money.
who play them. I play them, and I hate myself for it.
Okay.
It's just because everyone I meet playing a game, like in a, on Vend or whatever, doing a raid or something, they're all ooh, I said a bad word, but it's true.
Well, part of it is honestly that we're old for it now. Like everybody, I'm ancient apparently in that game. And so we don't put up with the same bullshit.
If I could kind of,
You did it again.
I know,
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I'm sorry. If I could examine nerd psychology once again.
Oh, Lord.
Well, this
Please do.
segues from last time. We're talking about. I mean, we're talking about. We're all used to sort of being at the bottom of the social ladder, and abuse is transferred, and people who are being abused all the time, just by bullies. Or in any sort of social
trolls.
setting, they transfer that abuse to who are essentially the weaker nerds within the virtual universe. And so, if you're not really good, if your gear's not that great,
That's right. You're a nerd in real life, so you can be a king of the online nerds.
and you can tear it down. And I think picking on girls in that sense is sort of like, okay, I'm a nerd and I'm good at this, and nerds are good at this. How dare a girl be better at it than me? Because that's.
So yeah.
In other words, I think these guys feel it's further emasculating them. But
It happens to them all the time.
stuff that happens in
Real life.
normal context.
Okay.
Which
I can get that. I just think that the immaturity level when you get
Well,
that
I
many
mean,
men
there's
in
a lot
one
of-
place at one time just plummets.
Or the fact that they're all like 15 and 16 years old
And on the internet.
and on the internet.
Well, even the 22 to 25-year-olds, they're still pretty bad.
There's also a level of anonymity. There's a layer of
Safety.
where you feel like you can just say whatever horrible thing comes to mind.
Like literally.
Oh, I'm a jerk on the internet.
So and that's the
Just
thing.
on the internet, Joe?
Just on the internet.
Just
This
on the
is me
internet.
being nice.
Well, that transitions into Mass Effect and the ending of where the ending of the third game created such a controversy.
It did.
And,
bad that I don't know what Mass
It's
Effect
the same sort of thing.
Well, I
And
know what
people-
Mass Effect is, but
and people
I
were
never played it.
Mass Effect was the spiritual successor to Knights of the Old Republic.
Right.
It was the same guys who had programmed the first game. Was it help me out here, Joe?
Are you guys going to talk about Star Wars and BioWare at all?
BioWare.
into it.
BioWare programmed the first Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic RPG that was for Xbox. It was based on the Star Wars D20 RPG that was being put out by Wizards.
Wizards of the Coast, yeah.
It was really, really great.
Yes.
Really great.
The reason
Everybody says it was awesome.
The whole reason
and
I
they
got
rid of
an
it. It's
Xbox was to
terrible.
play that game, and then
that's the whole reason I purchased an Xbox.
and then they
just for that
and
game.
then they decided to go work on other stuff because they wanted to make their own
Their own
series
property.
that they owned, their own property, because they were getting involved with EA and things like that. So they passed off the sequel to Obsidian, and although there were some improvements in terms of mechanics, it just wasn't as good a game.
No, well, the story wasn't as good.
It just wasn't as interesting. It was the prequels to the originals essentially, and then
Kinda, yeah, in a
and then
way.
BioWare came back around with the Star Wars MMO, of course. But
Right.
Mass Effect was really the sequel to Knights of the Old Republic, and in terms of video game role-playing games, it really is the Final Fantasy of this generation.
It is.
It's really huge, and it has all those hallmarks: really good stories, really good interaction, really good choices for your characters, those moral choices that don't seem so obvious like they do in other games. I mean, a lot of games have a binary point-based morality, whereas Mass Effect, because it's a single-player game especially, because they put so much thought into it, there's sort of multi-layered reactions, and you can even sort of backpedal and gain the respect of people in the game back and things like
Right.
that, things that you've screwed up. Which, and of course the romance aspect, which was a big deal that was kind of blown way out of proportion originally. But you want to weigh in on Mass Effect, Joe?
No.
I still find
No, you're the only one. You're the only one who finished the third game because we've got it.
Well, I don't want to spoil our audience. Obviously, we have a huge demographic of
The
Mass
game
Effect
came
players.
out when?
right.
Several months ago.
sure
Several months
Yeah.
ago. No. I by this time I've read the ending. It's okay.
All
Yeah,
three
you
of the
still haven't
people who
played,
watched
have
I
you?
still haven't played it. No, but you can spoil the ending. It's fine. I'm giving you permission. It's been long enough. Fair warning. Spoiler alert for
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3. If you've been living under a rock.
The BioWare whole romantic thing, come on now. That it really is just, I find it way too weird that you have
It's
to try to.
way.
It's so weird.
It's way much better executed than Mass Effect series. Much better
It's
executed.
so
Still not
weird. You have to
good, but-
try to like make your companion, fall in love with you, so they'll do stuff, and it's giving.
How is
It's
that
not
different
really.
from real
It's
life?
not.
Oh, it's terrible.
Are real girls different than that? You want to make them like you so they'll do stuff.
I think you're going back to nerd psychology. This was like, ooh, let's put a
least in-
romantic interest in the game, and
At
they'll
least
all
in
buy
Mass
this.
Effect. At least in Mass Effect
Girls
1.
will like it.
At least in Mass Effect
Yeah,
1,
no,
there really
I don't
weren't a
think
lot
girls
of.
like it.
Well, that's
there-
the marketing.
There wasn't really a lot of in-game rules level consequences for romancing one of your companions. It was just kind of an option. You could play through the whole game without ever doing it.
No, all the girls I talked to did like the guy with the country accent.
Yeah,
I agree with that one.
That was they gave a lot of options, more options for the third one. Well, in the first game, they had a race of just sexy blue chicks that
Like
could
Brunei?
that could mate with a male or a female of any other species, and if that's not the epitome of male sexist fantasy, I don't know what is. But it was really cool, and you could make your character male or female, and your character had either male or female had the option of seducing that character. But the human character you could seduce was gender appropriate, and it wasn't until Game 3 where they finally added more appropriate options for, say, a homosexual male playing the game that wouldn't be interested in heterosexual or lesbian sex in any way.
Right.
Not that the sequences were all that interesting. They were very PG-13 side boob kind of really quick stuff.
Like a boot scene.
It was really just
You cut and then you
it was
see the boots.
kind of an add-on that really took off by Game 3, which caused some controversy, which in the end probably just led to the sales
Yeah,
increase.
there's always controversy and it just makes more sales.
But to get back to the nerd hate over the ending of 3 that goes back to that layer. People really exploded over essentially disappointment over an artistic choice for these ending of a series.
So like the
what they were mad about. It wasn't just that it was an artistic choice. It was the Mass Effect series for 3 full games had touted that your choice matters for the ending, that every choice you pick will contribute towards one unique ending for you. And then you get to the end of Game 3, the great climax of the entire fantastic trilogy, and you have to pick one of 3 options. Does not matter what choice you made beforehand, you had 3 options to deal with the big space Cthulhus. And that's what really got under people's skins, because they had played Mass Effect with the promise that it was really expansive, that you had all these choices in the universe to make, that you could really shape not just your character, but the whole universe by the choices you make. And then at the end, you have to pick one of 3 options. And I think 4 by the time the DLC was released, but somebody has my game, so I haven't played it yet. And that was where all the anger came from. Not so much because of the 3 choices at the end, but because BioWare had promised so much more than they gave us. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys that got really upset about the ending, because I really don't see how they could have incorporated every choice you made.
Yeah, that seems it'd be a coding
it was an
nightmare.
okay ending, but I loved the journey, the path through all 3 games. I mean, I still think the second game is my favorite of the 3.
Well, oh God, we've got dead air.
No, not dead air.
I think.
I go back to the history.
I mean, I do think that in general. Well, we're going to get to that in a second. But my last observation on Mass Effect would just be that, in the end, most of the ending choices ended fairly melancholy, bittersweet, kind of. The day was saved, but there was a cost. And I think some people wanted a reward that if they made the right choices, they got the mega happy, super duper ending.
There were some of those, not as many as maybe some people wanted, and.
You mean the Ewok Super Party ending?
Exactly. Well, I'm thinking like the ending of the original Wayne's World, where they were given options.
I'm a fan of fireworks.
Yep.
No, they don't sing that one anymore.
I know.
That one's been changed.
That makes me sad.
We addressed George Lucas and what he did to our childhoods last time. We might revisit it.
So is Star Wars going to continue to last in its current form, or are they going to be like, in 6 months?
It's doing pretty well.
5 years.
It doesn't have the kind of content to really directly compete with.
Oh yeah, it's a WoW killer. Please.
It might be in like 4 years.
Right. They just released actually their first big patch.
Yeah.
With more content, so they're at 1.2 now. So I mean, WoW's at what 4.3? 3 expansions. It takes time. One thing I liked about Old Republic better than WoW was just the story aspect of each individual character, which was kind of cool, because then again,
it was a carryover from the.
Well, that part is cool, but I'm not a fan of all the individual questing crap. And
because I get tired of people, so
because you want to hassle people over the mic. That's why.
I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to go do my thing.
That's why I like single-player games.
Right.
It's none of that pesky social interaction.
Well, I'm a girl and I like
shoot a dragon in the face.
Social interaction.
I shoot some guard in the knee with an arrow. I log off.
I'm not that good at it.
I like MMOs because I like annoying Jess and Keith.
Right.
You can do that here now.
Well,
I know, right?
That's true. Or on game night.
But honestly, I like the fact that you don't have to be amazing.
On game
well,
night. But that's a whole other story. Let's not go there.
To cover that, we started game night about a year ago. In its current form. With 4th edition, I was finally convinced to give it a shot.
Oh, here we go. Buckle up, people. This is going to be a
We've
wild
since
ride.
moved on.